Hello. Ahoy, bless you.
Bless you.
Welcome to our channel. We are not at home. We are on a field trip today. We're going to be doing our annual apple picking, but we're doing it somewhere we've never been before.
We have a lot of pumpkins here too.
They do have a lot of pumpkins, but we're not here for pumpkins. We're here for apples.
Yep.
And that's what we're gonna go do. Okay.
Go.
She said to the left.
Look, snowflakes here.
They have them so well labeled.
They tied off to the cow. Don't let go of it, okay?
Okay.
All right, there's Macintosh.
Dandy red.
Do you want to start with like the galas first?
Yeah.
Come on, let's go this way.
I'm definitely gonna eat one and collect. Those are my most favorite.
This place is huge.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Look how close the trees are together, and look how far we spaced them.
Yeah, but these are dwarf size, I think.
Yeah, you can tell because how they've been put on another route.
Yeah, they're grafted. They're not doing the tractor rides today. They only do them on Saturdays and Sundays. There's Honeycrisp. Look at how long these rows are. Those are Fuji.
That is a soft spot.
It's a good one. Okay, that's a very good one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, come on. It's big. Apple picking, so fun.
Apple picking's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Why? It does not focus on me. I'm always blurry and it focuses on you.
It's gotta be the stash.
A mustache. We just experienced the most expensive apples in the world. I like to can up our own applesauce, and I don't think I got enough for that. We have to get more. But at least we went and we got to go not too far from our house. I mean, it was probably the same distance, kind of.
This place had a lot more to pick from than all the other places we've been.
We're back in the kitchen. Apple picking was so much fun. That was a few days ago and we had such a great time. It's one of our favorite things to do. It's just one of those things that we do every single year is go apple picking. And I keep thinking to myself, once our apple trees start producing their own apples, is it something that we'll keep doing? Probably. I just won't buy as many bags, most likely, but it's just something we really enjoy doing together and lots of fun memories, and I'm glad I got to share it with you. I separated out some of the apples and most of the gala apples, and they went into the refrigerator, and the kids just kind of help themselves. Those are their favorite kinds of apples to eat, or Miranda's anyway. I've been snacking on them and they're just so delicious. Well, ideally, it would have been great if I could can these up into applesauce the day that we picked them, but that's just not the reality here. The reality is it's been a few days and these have been in the refrigerator. So these are the other apples. These are mostly Macintosh apples that we picked for applesauce. and some Margala mixed in here. For me, it doesn't really matter. I don't think this is gonna yield us a lot of applesauce. I would like to can up some apple pie filling, make some apple crisp and stuff. I don't have enough apples. Each of these bags was $35. I don't know the total poundage of what we got. All I know is when I weighed these this morning, I was at about 16 pounds of apples. Let me show you the recipe that I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna be using the same recipe I made last year and we really enjoyed it. We prefer unsweetened applesauce, so we do not add sugar. The recipe says it's optional to add 3 cups of sugar, but we completely omit the sugar. We don't add it at all, and it was delicious applesauce. So this is the recipe that I'm using, this one here, and it's out of this book, the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, and this is the applesauce recipe on page 180. And it calls for 12 pounds of apples peeled and cored. Peeled, cored, quartered, treated to prevent browning, and we'll get into that. And then 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. So it's just the apples and the lemon juice. And the 12 pounds will yield about 4 quart jars. I have about 16 pounds. It's over 8 pounds in one and over 7 pounds in the other. Yeah, right? I don't know. It's about 16 pounds of apples. In the dishwasher before I went out and harvested a bunch of stuff today from the garden, I turned on the dishwasher with some quart jars in there, and they've been sitting in there ever since. So those will be ready to go. The first thing I'm going to do is heat up my water bath canner. So I'm going to get these out of the way. All right. So I have the water bath canner on just a medium setting right now, and that's just to get the water warmed up while I get all the other stuff done. The first step is usually to prepare the canner lids and jars, and we have already done that, so we are going to go ahead and skip to step 2. First, we need to get our ingredients ready. Let's wash these bad boys and then get them peeled up and quartered. I use one of these thingies. It's a peeler and corer in one. I generally don't use the corer because it never seems to find the center of the apple. I have used it and I probably will use it again, which is why I leave it on here. For today's purposes, I'm not going to be using it. All you do to get this out of the way is you just loosen the wing nut, get it out of the way, and then you tighten the wing nut again so it stays out of the way. This is the part that you want to make sure is, if it's too far out, it will cut really far into the apple, and if it's too far in, it won't get it enough to get the skin off. So you just want to make sure that this is at a right setting, and I don't really want to mess with it too much because I've already done it before. So you stick the apple right on there, and then you just start winding. And that's it, and that's how I peel my apples, and it's really simple. Get my compost bucket ready and add those to that. So I do have one of those things that, like, you press down on it and it cores it and then cuts it into even pieces. I actually find it's easier just when I'm doing something like applesauce, and it doesn't, and to rough cut it is just a lot easier for me. Plus it gives me a chance to take off the parts that were missed when I was quickly getting rid of all the skins. So even though it's not the most perfect method using that gadget to get rid of the skins, it's still a lot faster than having to peel all these by hand. So if I have to clean some of them up a little bit, it's not a big deal. And all I'm going to do is cut them into chunks, pieces, or whatever. They're going to cook down on the stove. This mixture just prevents oxidation on the fruit. The lemon in the water is going to prevent the apples from browning. Okay, so since I have a lot more apples to cut up, I'm going to go ahead and move these ones into the pot. Because I'm gonna run out of room in this pot for all these apples, I'm actually gonna go ahead and get a head start cooking these ones down. It says to add just enough water to prevent the apples from like sticking together. So you just wanna put enough water to cover the top of the apples. And then I'm gonna start cooking these down while I'm cutting the rest of these up. I have a lot more apples and they're not all, this is the biggest pot I have to cook in. So I need to cook these down to just kind of make sure I have room for everything. Just enough water on the apples to be able to stir them around and everything like that. I'm gonna put it on a medium and let it come up to a boil slowly. And while that's happening, I'm gonna finish cutting up the rest of the apples. Alexa, stop. So I have cut up all the apples and my other pot is very full. So I grabbed another smaller pot and I'm just gonna move these over to this one. I have 2 different pots going. This one probably could use a little bit more water. Alright, so the recipe says that you want to bring the apples to a boil over medium heat. Reduce the heat and boil gently, and then you're going to cook them for 5 to 20 minutes. It's going to depend on the variety of the apples and the size of the pieces that you put into the pot. I'm not really sure how long this is going to take me. I don't remember the sizes that I did last year, but I'm assuming about 20 minutes it'll take for these to cook down a little bit. Once I get to that point, I'll be back. So both the pots of apples are at a really good boil and they're starting to get pretty soft. These are pretty tender, so I'm going to actually turn the heat off on this one. Yeah, these ones are good too, so I'm going to turn the heat off on that one too. The next thing I'm going to use is my food mill. We're just going to spoon it into the food mill. Yeah, that's the consistency I want. I like the little bit of texture, like the graininess that you would get in store-bought applesauce. The kids were already commenting that the house smells like apple pie. And they love applesauce, but I felt kind of bad saying, no, it's just applesauce, no apple pie. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and puree the rest of this up and then I'll be back. Alright, I got all of it pureed, so I'm just gonna combine them both into one big pot here. It smells really good. That's how it looks. It's exactly the consistency I'm looking for. And now we're gonna add the lemon juice and can them up. So the math would work out to be for every 3 pounds of apples, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So I have 16 pounds of apples divided by 3 is 5.33. Gonna go with 5.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. If you were gonna be adding sugar to this recipe, now would be the time that you would do that. I'm not adding sugar, so I'm just gonna be adding the lemon juice. 5.5 tablespoons. 1 and 1/2. Now I'm gonna stir that up. All right, now I'm gonna bring this back up to a very soft boil while I get the jars ready. You wanna make sure you're stirring it really good while it's coming up to a boil because it's one of those things that just will shoot out at you and stain the ceiling. It smells really good. All right, so the next step is we're gonna ladle the applesauce into the jars. These are quart-sized wide-mouthed jars. Lids and my bands are over there. And for these, we're gonna be doing, with the applesauce, a 1/2 inch of headspace. So on my little funnel here, it's a 1/2 inch, or if you're using the bubble tool, it's marked on here as well. So, So a half of an inch is here. It's a little bit higher. I'm going to use my bubble tool and get the bubbles out of it first and then see where the headspace is. Now the headspace seems higher. I don't know that, but it's an easy fix when you have too much in the jar. You just grab a spoon and take out what you don't need. We'll measure the headspace again, and now it can use a little bit more. I'm gonna clean off the rim. I'm gonna use, this is a flour sack towel, or normally I would use a t-shirt rag, but they're all in the wash right now. So I'm gonna use a flour sack towel. You just wanna use something that doesn't produce any lint, and some distilled white vinegar. And I'm gonna go around the rim of the jar, just cleaning off all of the applesauce that's on the rim. Quart-sized jars out of the applesauce that I made, and then I got about half of another quart size. This will just go in the fridge once it cools. I'm going to use one of these reusable lids on it, stick that in the refrigerator. Once it cools off a little bit, we'll eat this probably within the next week or so. As for these ones, they're going to go for a little bit of a scuba dive. I'm going to turn the burner back on to high this time and lower these down. And you need about an inch of water over the top of the jars. So I use my bubble tool. I have just about exactly an inch of water over the top of the jars. I have the burner on high. I'm going to put the lid back on, and then I'm gonna let this sit, and I'll wait for it to be at a steady boil, and then we will set the timer. Water bath canner is not at a boil yet. Never mind. The water bath canner is now at a boil. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer for 20 minutes. The timer is going off, so I'm gonna turn that off. Turn the burner off, and then make sure you tilt the lid away from you, because the steam could really hurt you. So I always try and tilt it away, keep it that way. And now we're gonna set the timer for 5 minutes. All right, we're gonna turn the timer off and lift these out of the water bath canner. Okie dokie. Alright, so we just canned up 4 quart-sized jars of applesauce and like 3/4 of a quart-sized jar of applesauce. And I just used one of these reusable lids, and I'll store this in the refrigerator. It just wasn't enough to can up. Here is how the jars of applesauce look. I'm really happy with the color and the consistency, and I've had this recipe before, so I know it will taste really good. I'm happy that we like it without the additional sugar added. But that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out so much. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.